guys, welcome back to another Android episode. Today I'll be talking to you about Json in Android. First things first, we'll go to our browser and type Json in Android, and you must go to this github.com, and here you must select the implementation for Json, and let's copy it and paste it inside build Gradle in the dependencies. After that, let's press sync now. And it got synced. So now let's start with Json. First thing, let's make a new package called model, and here we'll have a new class called user. Inside the user class we'll have a private int id and a private string name and a private string mobile, like this. And let's provide a constructor. We'll say generate constructor and select all three and say OK. The next thing, we'll have the set getters and setters. We'll say generate getter and setter, and here we'll select three of these and say OK. Alright, the user class is now made. Now the next thing, in Json we'll have some buttons to identify how to make object into Json. We'll have some buttons. We'll change this text view into button, and here we'll give the text for the first button as object to Json, and let's move it up to the top of the layout. We'll say margin top as 0 dp. No. We'll move this up and place it here. Next thing, we'll give ID for this button. The ID will be O to G. And the next thing, we'll copy this button and paste it thrice. Here the second button will say array to Json, and the ID will be A to G, like this. The next one will be another object to Json 2, and this will say O to G 2. The last button will be array list to Json, and this will be A to ARR to G. The next thing, we'll have to provide the constraints. Here we say constraint top to bottom of as. We'll give the ID O to G, and we'll copy this line and paste it here, and we'll give the ID A to G. The next thing also, we'll give the ID O to G2. Okay. Now the next thing, we'll have to make some on clicks for these items. We say on click. Now we'll give on click to this. It will be object to array. And let's make this inside our application. And we'll have another on click. It will say array to Gson, and another will be there on click object to array to, and finally we'll have another on click for array list to Json. We'll make these methods inside our application. And the next thing, we'll write our code inside this. And here we'll have another text view to show the values of our JSON. It will be match parent and wrap content. Height will be match parent as well. No, height will be 300 SP. And here we provide an ID for the text view as ID txt. The next thing, we provide some constraint to top of as parent. And the next thing, constraint to left of as parent as well, and constraint right of as parent as well. And the next thing, we'll change we'll say in the button, we say constraint to top to bottom of as the ID text, like this. And we'll give a color for our text view. We'll say background, and the color will be we'll have a color from the website, color RGB, and here we'll find a color. We'll copy this color from here and paste it as hash here. Background, hash, and the color. Alright, now let's save this, and now let's write the code for the object to array. Here we'll first have a user object. We say user u equals new user, and here we'll give ID as 1. The name will be Kulesh, and the next thing, the phone number will be 077 356 2890, and we'll close that from here. And now to do the magic, we'll make a Gson builder. Gson builder gb equals new Gson builder, and we say gb dot set pretty printing, and we next have Gson object Gson equals gb dot create, and then we say string Json string equal to Gson dot to Json. You must remember that when making an object to Gson, we provide the method to Json, and we'll pass the user inside this. And the next thing, we'll have our text view. Text view tx equals find view by id r.id dot txt, and here in the tx we say set text and provide the Json string inside this. Okay. Now for the second one, we'll make an array to Json. First thing, we'll make a string array. String s equals to new string, and we'll give 3 indexes to this. And the next thing we say s0 equals to Kulesh, and s1 equals to Coca-Cola, and s2 equals to pizza. And the next thing we say Json equals to new Json, and the next thing we'll make a string Json string again, which will be equal to Json dot to Json, and we provide the array to this like this. And the next thing, we'll copy this from here and we'll paste it here. And the next thing, for object to array to, we'll make 3 users. We'll copy this from here and paste it thrice, and we'll change the ID for the second one as 4, the third one as 7, and we'll make this U1 and U2, and here the second name will be Alex, the third name will be Johnny, and we'll change the numbers like this. And the next thing, we'll make a user array, user ulist equals to new user, and we provide 3 indexes. And next thing, we say ulist dot add ulist 0th index equals to u, and we say ulist first index equals to u1, and ulist second index equals to u2, like this. And the next thing, we'll make a Gson object, Gson equals to new Gson, and after that we'll declare string Json string like this, which will be equal to Gson dot to Json again, and we provide the ulist to this. And finally, we'll copy the text view. We'll copy the text view and paste it here like this. And the next thing, array list to Gson. We'll copy this from here and paste it here. And the next thing, we say array list user ulist equals to new array list. And after that we say ulist dot add u and ulist dot add u1 and ulist dot add u2 like this. And the next thing, we'll make a Json object, Json g equals new Json, and after that we say string Json string equals to g dot to Json, and we'll pass the ulist to this like this. And finally we'll copy this text view and paste it here. Okay, so these are 4 ways to change an object to Json. Now let's run this and check the output. We'll press on run app. Now our phone is being loaded. Now we make another button to clear the text view when we want to clear it. We'll copy this button from here and paste it here, and we'll call this clear, and we'll change this to ARR dog, and we'll give the text as clear. Let's write a on click for clear. We say clear, and let's make this method. Inside this we'll copy our text view. We'll copy our text view code and paste it, and here we say set text and say null. Next thing, let's run this inside our application. Righty. First thing, let's check the object to Json. When we press this, we get ID1, mobile, and name of our user object. Let's clear this and press array to Json. And here we get Kulesh, Coca-Cola, and pizza like we've seen earlier. The next thing, object to Json will be this. We'll get our 3 records like this. We'll clear this again and say array list to Json, and we get all these records right now. So this is how to do work with Json, and this is one of the first lessons in Json. So in this lesson I taught you how to convert an object to Json, and in the next video I'll teach you how to make a JSON object into an object. Json to an object. Okay, so I'll see you in the next video. Until then, goodbye guys, and please take care.